Hi, welcome to Aquatic Australia's new series of dive site guides. These are composite videos from a number of dives, which coupled with a site map aim to explain some of the features and life to be seen on that dive site. This dive site guide is about Shark Cave and the West End. Shark Cave is a large cave which is often an aggregation site for grey nurse sharks. The site is excellent, often with great viz, but it is exposed to winds and often has strong currents. It's also sometimes known as nurses' quarters. The West End has a number of dive sites around it, but Shark Cave is actually at the tip of the West End. The West End site as a whole is quite large, with lots of caves, drop-offs and crevices, other than Shark Cave, but we rarely explore them. Let's examine the site by splitting it into three areas. The first area we look at is a plateau with slopes to north and south off to the east end of the site. You'll sometimes anchor here. The second area is the south central area around Shark Cave itself. And the southwest peninsula is less dived, but there are gullies and cracks and walls and big schools of fish. It's not dived much and deserves more exploration. What you can see here varies greatly, but these are some of the things we have seen here. The site is famous for its grey nurse sharks, which are known in Europe and USA as sand tigers and in South Africa as Raggy Tooth sharks. In this shot there are 8, but I've seen up to 14 in here. Grey nurse sharks look fierce, but are fish eaters and not aggressive to divers, and actually quite friendly, but they do have teeth and they must be respected. They can and will defend themselves, but left alone they will accept you and come quite close. Sharks are not always there. They're seasonal, and sometimes even in season they might not be there. On one occasion though, we saw a beautiful large blue grouper being cleaned by a cleaner ass in the cave. There are also lots of colourful sponges, even lobsters, but since it's a marine reserve you can't touch them. There are often large schools of fish over the western slope, such as these pomfrets. Sometimes you can even see tropical fish that come down from the tropical Lewin current from Ningaloo Reef and the Coral Coast. Here we see a small school of butterfly fishes. Big stingrays often turn up as well, especially at the end of the reef in the bay. Let's talk a bit about how to behave in the cave. As we said, grey nurse sharks are docile but very sensitive to physical obstruction, bubble noise and spatial pressure. Here are some guidelines to avoid stressing the sharks so they stick around. Maintain your distance and stay low. If possible, stay out of the main cave on the edge. They will retreat, but then if you stay calm they will come back to you and line up to pass by and look at you. Later, if you must go in, when they're used to you, keep 3 meters away from resting sharks or slow cruising sharks and stay low near the bottom to avoid towering over them and appearing to be a threat. Control your breathing and trim, avoid sudden erratic movements or rapid bursts of bubbles. Slow, deliberate breathing is the order of the day. It minimizes noise and ensure your buoyancy is good so you don't stir up sediment or crash into the reef. Limit your time inside the aggregation zone and stick to the higher parts. After 10 to 15 minutes, move along to the outer ledge for a bit, and often they will come and check you out as they get used to you. Never cut off a shark's exit or its swimming line, either by yourself or by your bubbles rising. Watch its pectoral fins as an indicator of mood. If they're down, it's not happy. If they're flat, it's okay. Never chase or touch the sharks under any circumstances. Sometimes you may see fishing gear stuck on the shark. Never try to remove it, you may get bitten. It takes trained teams of divers supervised by a vet to do this safely. And besides, usually the hook rots out or the shark's body rejects the hook and they have an amazing ability to heal. Over on the east coast there has been some experiments with vets to remove fishing gear from sharks, but not here yet. Penetrate the deep cave recesses. Never enter the back of the cave or the undercut when the sharks are present. Stay at the cave entrance so the sharks have a clear path to retreat and exit freely. Here we see a couple of divers getting over-enthusiastic and pushing past us into the deep recesses and getting right in the face of the sharks in their deep ledge, which is their retreating zone. This is not good practice, so try to avoid this. In their defense, it's easy to forget and become over-enthusiastic. Let's talk about lighting and camera etiquette. Avoid focused constant beams of light, especially in the shark's eyes. Narrow spotlight beams can focus light directly into their pupils, their sensitive pupils. Diffuse video lights can be less bad, as it spreads the light over a wide area. Because light drops off quickly in intensity without a hotspot, it feels more like ambient daylight rather than a direct threat, but not right up in their face. Strobes don't appear to be bad, provided they're not discharged constantly in their eyes. They seem to ignore them. Strobes discharge in less than 1,000th of a second. That brief diffuse pulse doesn't seem to disrupt them much or trigger a startle response like a spotlight seems to. Strobes generally in nature photography seem to have little effect on animals, and it's suggested that they mimic ambient surface reflections or lightning flashes. While light does matter, grey nurse sharks react far more strongly to physical and acoustic cues. Vibrations such as heavy fin kicks, sudden bursts of bubbles, and spatial pressure such as pushing cameras and selfie poles into their personal space, which is about 1 to 1.5 meters, triggers a response regardless of if a camera flash fires. Let's look at what different parts of the reef look like. Watch the direction and position of the arrow on the left as it corresponds to the video, and pay attention to the background topography. Let's start with the southeast edge. To the southeast there's a plateau with a top at 12 meters, going down to about 20 to 22 meters at the edge of the reef to the south, with some sand patches at the edge of the reef. Often with an easterly current you'll find yourself anchored on the boat here. Moving west along the ridge at the top of the plateau, we get to the end of it and a rocky ledge. Moving further west, there is a ridge that runs north and south, and at the south end of this ridge is a slit cave with an overhanging ledge. This looks small on the outside, but is actually quite big inside. It's worth checking out, as often there can be grey nurse sharks chilling out under the roof. Leaving the slit cave, the ridge heads north, but as we go to the west there's a large rock with a depression in between in a bowl. I like to call it the salad bowl because it's full of kelp. It's like a large low bay or bowl full of kelp. Swim west across the salad bowl and you come to the east entrance of the shark cave. You can see that the cave looks like a large slab or a domino, leaning at about 30 degrees with a ridgeline that looks like an overhang rather than a cave, but as you get closer you can see that it's actually a cave. Inside the cave, looking back, we see the east entrance and the skylight. The depth is about 21 meters here and 24 meters down to the bottom of the cave. It's a deceptively long swim from the middle to the entrance. Without a redundant air source, you should aim to pass quickly to an area with vertical access and stay within vertical access. The hole in the roof, for example, allows you to stay inside but still have an easy egress with your buddy. Or, better still, carry a pony bottle. Hanging under the skylight exit and looking up slope, you can see how it looks like a slab sitting on a rock, although it's not actually, it's a solid cave. Probably caused by water erosion. This shot follows the eastern side of the cave from the north tip to the south, and then swimming east we head over the kelp or the salad bowl back to the south of the ledge cave and then back towards the southern plateau. To the left here are a number of rocky ledges and small caves. To the north of the plateau there is a gorge and more small caves and a circular arch on the west of the plateau. And we'll look at this area again in more detail in future because it seems interesting. Through the circular Stargate Eye and up onto the top of the plateau finishes this area. Our second area of interest looks to the west side of the cave and the landmarks to the west that will help you find the cave. A key landmark that has helped me find the cave on a number of occasions has been this mushroom-shaped rock. As I recall, it's about 10 to 20 meters west of the cave. If you head east and don't find it, go back and then go up north a little bit more and you should find the cave again. From the west side, looking into the distance, into the gloom, for the ledge of the shark cave sticking up, you should see a view like this one below on the right that I've included on the dive map. In this shot you can see how, with no one else around, we stayed just on the outside of the cave, hovering quietly. Eventually the sharks just lined up to approach us one by one, like aircrafting a landing pattern, and they came to check us out and they stayed around for ages. In this shot from a different dive, divers entered the bottom of the cave, pushing the sharks out. Hovering here, they again passed us, but they didn't stick around long. So hang back and chill and the sharks will stay longer. In this segment, we look to the north of the mushroom rock and the northern approaches to the cave. On the western end of the site is a bay with fairly steep sloping sides. At the top of that bay, I regularly find large schools of fish, including a giant school of pomfrets. The bay also seems to be more where the big stingray seems to show up. Moving inland from the head of the valley, there is a small cave here, and beyond that, turning south, we approach the shark cave from the north. Look out for the view that we've shown below right, which is another sketch included in the map to help you locate the cave. You're looking for the tabular shape sticking up in the gloom. To the west is Mushroom Rock again. In this segment, we look to the southwest of the Shark Cave and out along the southwest peninsula of the site. This area is south of Shark Cave, looking west, and then turning north towards Mushroom Rock. We see that there is a canyon which starts north towards the Mushroom Rock and then turns to the west and heads out towards the valley. Coming out of the canyon, the left side of the valley has a ridge heading to the end of the reef. Along that ridge somewhere I spot another arch, although it's not marked on the map since I haven't confirmed its location yet 100%. Only seen it on one dive so far. Always be aware of currents on this reef and your anchor location. It's vital to carry a delayed surface marker buoy here and always have a competent skipper on service any day with even a gentle current. Otherwise the next stop is Durban in South Africa. Here you can see the ridge and ledge that I've indicated by a thick black line on the map more clearly. I make a signal to my buddies indicating turn back due to a westerly current pushing us off the reef. Reaching the top of the bay, we again come to the school of pomfrets that is often here, and we find broken ground. Moving inland a little, we find another small cave. Moving past the cave and turning to the south, we can see the Shark Cave's tabular peak from the north again, looking like a domino laid on top of another. Or from this direction it looks like a giant sea lion sitting on the bottom. This area, just to the southeast of the Shark Cave, looked interesting. We came to it right at the end of our dive, but it's another area to explore next time. Usually a dive at the West End is focused on finding the Shark Cave. Much of this footage was shot on the way to or from the cave, but it also shows the site is interesting and worth more exploration and has a lot more than just the Shark Cave to offer. In this final section we look at the area to the north. I haven't dived much up here, but again it looks worth exploring more. On this day our club skipper put us a long way north, but we had a great dive and found several deep canyons worth exploring. One of these canyons was to the north near a shallow part of the reef and was a deep canyon with a huge rock arch.
Which suddenly drop off into large canyons.
That's all for today. I hope you find the site guide useful. Like all of them, it's based on my impressions and navigation. It definitely requires more work and improving on as I dive the site more. Please like, comment and subscribe. These films are made just for interest, but it's rewarding to hear from people who have enjoyed them. Thanks for watching and join us again next time on Aquatic Australia.